up on today's show, we have some big decisions for the Seattle Seahawks to make within a matter of days, hours, and minutes. We'll tell you what those decisions are coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we get to that, though, folks, all this month, beginning today through the rest of the end of February, Tom Downey of the Cowboys Report, he has challenged us here at Seahawks Today to a like battle to see which channel can get the most number of likes between our respective channels. And I know the Cowboys aren't a direct rival, but we can all agree. We all hate the Cowboys, right? Let's do our part. Let's beat the Cowgirls, show why we have the best fans, not just in the NFC, but in the National Football League. If you hate the Cowboys, hit the like button. We'll get started with today's show. It is decision time for the Seattle Seahawks. Tyler Schultz here with you. Thanks for joining us. Remember the decision with LeBron? I loved the decision. That was great television on ESPN back in the day. Well, the Seahawks have two big decisions to make here in the coming days ahead. And the first of those starts with Uchenna Nwosu. The Seahawks outside linebacker has a $6 million roster bonus guarantee that is due tomorrow. So that means that between now and then, Seattle has to decide whether or not they want to keep Uchenna Nwosu before he ultimately would get that paycheck. And what I'm expecting is that the Seahawks will designate Uchenna Nwosu as a post-June 1 cut. And the reason why that is because that would give Seattle the most leg room to get when it comes to saving towards cap space, about $15 million. So they can release him within the next couple of days, avoid paying him that roster bonus, and still designate it as a post-June 1. That way they can maximize on their cap space of saving that $15 million. And the big reason why, when you look at Uchenna Nwosu, I know he started off hot here in Seattle, leading this team in sacks his first season in 2022 with 9.5, but since then, he has struggled to stay healthy and struggled to stay available on the football field. Just 12 total games played combined in the last two seasons. Now, granted, when we've seen Uchenna Nwosu out there, he's been very solid. The numbers in the 6 games he played this past season, 14 tackles, 1 sack, 1 TFL. The year prior, in 6 games played, had 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 16 tackles, and 4 tackles for loss. But as I tell you all the time, the best availability is availability. And if Uchenna Nwosu can't be relied upon, then there's no reason to be paying him at this point. They can do better, whether it's internally with some of the options they have with guys like Boye Mafe and Derek Hall, or looking at other options, whether it be in the draft or free agency. Believe me, this sucks, because I really like Uchenna Nwosu. He was fantastic in 2022, and it seemed like that they found a nice bargain buy in getting him for a relatively cheap cost when they brought him over from the LA Chargers. But this is one of those things where it's not personal. This is a business decision. This is the right move for Seattle to move on from Uchenna Nwosu and go ahead and count your losses and save that money on that front. Let's ask you now, should the Hawks cut Uchenna Nwosu? It's our pinned comment today. You got 2 options here. Type K for keep, C for cut. Weigh in the comments section and let us know. Seahawks Today is bringing you nonstop Seahawks coverage you won't find anywhere else, as we have live shows not just once but twice every week now on Mondays and Wednesdays throughout the entire offseason. We're going to continue to bring you our daily news and rumors, talking draft, free agency, trades, and more. If you're a diehard 12, you got to be subscribed to the channel. And I don't see any reason why we can't get 50 new subscribers to the channel, especially when it's free. It doesn't cost you a penny to subscribe now to Seattle Seahawks Today. I'm about to head home to Tulsa for a little extended weekend, going to see my family. And if any news breaks, we're going to bring you a video. I don't care if it's from my parents' backyard or whatever it needs to be. We will have you covered here on the channel. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. The next big decision for Seattle involves safety Julian Love. On Saturday, he will be due a roster bonus guarantee of $4.3 $25 million. And this one's a much easier decision for Seattle here. I expect Julian Love to stick around. There's just no reason why the Hawks need to move on from Julian Love at this point in time. And for me, it's twofold. The production's there. He's been very available. He hasn't missed a game in 2 seasons. And you're looking at taking on a cap hit of $6 million next year. And I think that's very reasonable for a player that has played as well as he has. And this was kind of like we talked about with Uchenna Nwosu. This was an under-the-radar signing when they brought him over from the New York Football Giants. His first season in Seattle was a Pro Bowl campaign in 2023. Has played in every single game that he's been here in his 2 seasons. And you look at the numbers of what he's done. That first year in Seattle, a breakout campaign for him, his best season that he's ever had with 4 interceptions, 10 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles. Then he followed up this year. His numbers weren't quite as good, but they were still really good. 109 tackles, 3 interceptions, 12 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. And you think about the revolving door that has been at the safety position. When Seattle moved on from Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs and Ryan Neal, just to name a few, and then they turned the page this year and brought in Rayshon Jenkins, and then he got hurt pretty quickly. It was in, he had that great game against the Giants, then things went downhill from there. Kobe Bryant stepped in and did a really good job. But the only mainstay for this Seahawks team when it comes to this safety room that's held this group together has been Julian Love, and he's been so consistent for this Seahawks team in that entire stretch over the last 2 seasons, and he's just now entering his prime years. So what I would expect is those numbers that you see in 2023, that you've seen in 2024, that's only going to continue for Julian Love, and you'll be happy to pay him the amount that he is being owed with that $6 million cap hit on that front. And I know that John Schneider has taken a lot of criticism, and most of it rightfully so, with some of the decisions that he's made when it comes to free agent signings and the draft, and especially the issues that have been on the offensive line that all go back to the general manager, John Schneider, and how he's run things. But credit where credit's due. We call balls and strikes on this show. We always are going to keep you honest here and tell you not necessarily what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. And John Schneider did a really good job with finding Julian Love, with having that breakout campaign, then extending him last offseason as well. For me personally, I look at what they did with Julian Love as probably the best signing that John Schneider has made of outside free agents in recent memory. And it's been a stable piece to this defense of what Julian Love has done. And you even think big picture, all right, with that secondary, beyond just the safety room. You look at the corner position, and we've seen a lot of guys come in and out of the corner spot, from the likes of Mike Brown from Mike Jackson to Trey Brown, Josh Jobe. Tariq Woolen's play has been up and down. Devin Witherspoon, he's had 2 really good seasons, but obviously there was a learning curve there. Julian Love has been kind of that guy that they can depend on, that's been that sounding board of sorts, that veteran that needed to step up. And you think about this too. Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs, those guys were both very vocal guys. They were kind of the leaders of that secondary. And when those guys moved on, the veteran to lead that group that they turned their attention to was Julian Love. So I'm a big fan of Julian Love. I hope he doesn't go anywhere. I think this should be an easy decision for John Schneider and company to keep him around. Now let's ask you, should the Seahawks keep Julian Love? You got 2 options here. Type Y for yes, N for no. Would you keep him around and give him that roster bonus? I think this is an easy decision. I'm typing Y for yes. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. For continuing Seahawks coverage, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button if you enjoyed today's show. If you want to beat the Cowboys Report in this like battle, you know what to do. Hit that like button. We certainly would appreciate it. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.